Hello and welcome to the Psychedelic Tea Chat today. My name is April Ramey, and the Psychedelic Tea Chat is a chance for us to talk about all things psychedelic, things that are coming up, integration, preparation, to give you what you need to be able to work with herbs and to be able to integrate and prepare all of the psychedelic experiences that life has to offer. And if you haven't known this about me yet, I believe that all of life is psychedelic and that I really focus on this concept called psychedelic herbalism, where we're blending herbs and natural wisdom into our daily life. So today I'm drinking one of my other beloved teas. Hello, everyone. I'm so happy you all are here. I'm drinking one of my beloved teas today called Solar Well. And this tea has come about for many different reasons. So the first reason why I created this tea was because in 2015, my word for the year was truth. And I spent March in this whole like psychedelic experience, hanging out with these people at this event called Medicines from the Edge. And it was very much a place where it was all about permaculture and herbs and psychedelics. And I thought I had found my people and that everything was great. Well, I didn't speak my truth for a situation I was in that I'm not going to go into. And what happened is then eventually I ended up losing my voice and getting a sore throat. And it happened so fast and it was terrible. And I had no one to take care of me. And at this time, I still wasn't traveling with my teas. And I was like, what am I thinking? And no one could help me. And at this moment is when I realized that even though I was surrounded by all these plant people, psychedelics, botanists, the herbalists weren't there. The people who knew about how to heal weren't around me. And what was being thrown at me was all these healing modalities that had a lot to do with the psychedelics or specific plant medicine. And this truth, this idea of like not speaking my truth really came through. So in this blend, the Solar Well blend, I have it right here, is elderflower, calendula, damiana, peppermint, sage, licorice root, and then elecampane and bone set. I added those two after there was the whole 2020 event. I added that in there. Oh my gosh. So that's like one of the things that I think that I added in after. But what this was all about, which it was initially called Solar Truth, was the tea. And I went on a huge search to figure out which herbs are going to help me travel, speak my truth, and integrate my truth that I find while I'm out doing all of these psychedelic herbal travels and experiences. Because at that time I was traveling to the jungles, I was traveling to Costa Rica and Colombia, and I was going to Guatemala and all these different places. And I had all these different travels involved and places I was learning from people. And I wanted to make sure that no matter what, no matter where I went, I was able to take care of myself. And so this tea came along, Solar Well, and I originally called it Solar Truth. Now, here's the thing. I'm getting shadow banned on Instagram right now. And while I personally don't really care because it's more about getting my message out there and assisting you all and sharing what I know, the thing that was so illuminating was, well, what is this representing to me? What is this preparing me for? What am I going through this experience to learn? And one of the things that came up was reminding me about it was reminding me how important it is to speak my truth no matter what, if it's seen or unseen. And this is how we want to live our lives, is living true to who we are at all times. And so another thing that's really true to me is, I've been trying to keep these talks to like 15, 20 minutes, but something that's really true to me is that I can go on for hours. I have a lot of information. And one of my elders shared with me that eventually I'm going to have to step into the storyteller role that I'm meant for, the role that I'm meant to be able to share these different stories. And the stories are not in an egoic fashion so that you can hear my stories and that they're shared. Stories are shared to be able to glean knowledge and give inspiration into your life. It's not about me. My story doesn't really matter. What matters is what you gain from the story that I tell, from the relationship that we create through knowing a deeper part of me and realizing that we all are going through so many similar experiences. And so I was like, okay, well, do I get on my psychedelic tea chat if I'm shadow banned? And I thought about this tea and I was like, yeah, of course I do, because solar truth, solar well, this is what I'm all about. And so in these, I created this herbal blend, especially with calendula and damiana, to be able to help us activate the solar plexus, which is our will, which is our Agni, our fire, our purpose for being here. And I just felt like it was so important to share this before I get into what I actually wanted to talk about, because it's like, I'm going to still show up. I'm going to still be here. I'm still me. I'm still doing the work for you to showcase that this is what like plants are here for. So Instagram, whatever, I'm recording this now for YouTube and I put it on my Substack and I put it here and I do that, but that doesn't matter. What matters is the people who show up and end up seeing it. This is for you. So one of the stories I wanted to share that I just wrote about in my newsletter is about psychedelic preparation. And I know that integration is becoming such a hot topic right now, and I'm really excited about it. It makes me happy. I've been in this field for over 6 years, and trust me, when I started out and telling people I work in integration, people looked at me like I was crazy. But that's the way they looked at me back in 2008 when I was like, I'm going to do ayahuasca one day and all these other different things. And so, in this preparation, I want to share a little bit of my story and how preparation is so vital and why it's important for you and why preparation moves you into healing rather than desperation. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that when we are trying to figure out where you might be figuring out where a health concern is, or a nervous system, or a depression, or stress, or what do I do next? Whatever it is that you are wanting to work on healing, preparation is going to get you to a place where you're not living in desperation, you're living in healing. Desperation happens. Also, if you hear a weird sound behind me, it's because my dog is chewing on his bone. Desperation happens in the healing process when you don't allow time to prepare. So preparation for me looks like asking yourself some questions, asking yourself where you are. Preparation looks like recognizing your current status. Where are you right now, currently in this moment? Journal about it, think about it, and then think about what all led you up to this moment, because that was preparing you for where you are now. So if we can look at our past and understand what it's been preparing us for, which is this present moment, then we can take this present moment and begin to use all the moments that follow after as a preparation for whatever we're calling in for ourselves. So that's where you want to start making the mind shifts, is in the present, in the now. This is the preparatory section of your life, preparing you for wherever you plan on going. So preparation is not going to be perfect. It's a winding path. It's going to illuminate to your soul what's essential for you, what's important. Why do you need to prepare for these specific things? This is what's really important in the preparation stage. And then at this time, if you're depending on how close you are to a psychedelic experience, or if you're calling in a change or transformation in your life, it's time to question your intentions. Why? Why do you want to do this experience? Right. And then right now, the preparatory time, if you start thinking about it as now, it begins a time for you to create tools for you to manage ceremonies, to manage life, and to manage your integration. So a lot of the times integration begins with preparation. And so then it's also a great time for you to find your tribe that's going to support you. So whenever you go on a journey and you're like, this is where I'm going, this is my transformation, this is what's important to me, that be that psychedelics, a festival, a changing experience, a silent retreat, right? This is the time for you to figure out, well, where are the people located that I want to be around? Where are they? Where's my tribe? And a lot of the times, when you begin to change who you are and what you're working towards, that is when you find more of the people that belong in your tribe, which makes preparation for what you're wanting even easier. And then we can't forget herbs, right? So herbs are a great time, like preparing for any ceremonies or anything that you're going to do. Working with herbs is a great time to start that preparation. And it's going to lead that healing forward. It's going to create a space where you are able to understand the plant world before you step into a psychedelic experience. You understand who you are on a subtle level. And this is the whole key to my psychedelic herbalism protocol and how I work with it. It's all about you figuring out your subtleties, what's important to you, and how that is going to play a role in your psychedelic ceremony or any other ceremonies that you have, any transformations that you're going through, because you're going to have a deeper understanding of who you are. You're going to trust yourself better. And then in that space, you're going to be able to show up in ceremony with trusting who you are. And that's what preparation is all about, is learning how to trust yourself. Who are you? Right? And so then preparation is also going to help remove that crippling fear. And it's going to move you into a wise observation and excitement for your changes that you desire, rather than sitting in a space of fear, because you're preparing yourself. You're realizing that it doesn't have to be today and it doesn't have to be tomorrow, but that eventually it's coming. So, for example, in my life, I didn't understand preparation until I began to take a look back. And I started to realize that in 2008, when I found out about ayahuasca, I really was like, I'm going to do this. I want to do it. I went to this school called Thai Sophia at the time, which is now, I always get it wrong because I didn't go there. So it's like Maryland University of Integrated Health or something like that. And what I realized was, I read this woman's account in a book, because this is in 2008. So like, you know, Google and Yahoo and all those things were just kind of beginning, and like finding stuff about ayahuasca on the internet was like limited, right? And at this point, I realized that this is what I wanted. I wanted the same experience this woman had. I wanted to go into the jungle, be scared shitless, and excuse me, let me drink some tea. Anubis is being a little intense. So I wanted to go into the jungle and have this experience that was going to be very, very much something to prepare for. And so then in 2013, when I began doing clinical herbalism, what happened was I had this first plant meditation. And this is where you go into a space and then you visualize going down into the earth, coming out of the earth, and then finding out that you are in this spot looking for the first plant. So I climbed over this huge vine and I saw all of these hundreds and hundreds of flowers. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's all these flowers here. And I didn't know what they were. And yet I heard the message from ayahuasca. And I realized it was her because of the vine. And she said, you know, you don't need to drink me this lifetime. I've been with you for lifetimes, but I'm here for you when you do. And then it was saying, look at your life since 2008 and you heard about me. How have things changed? Because I've been there at every turn, inspiring you to live your ideal life. Stay with me. I love you. I have you. Your consciousness is woven into the tapestry of earth, just as all of your brothers and sisters are in human form. And so it began to make sense that what I had been experiencing since I heard about this plant was all preparing me for this moment, right? And the biggest preparation began when I did my clinical herbalist program, when I began to learn one herb at a time and realized that this is the way to preparation, the way to understanding myself, the way to understanding the earth on a deeper level. It's not through going blindly into experiences and just figuring it out, which works, of course, and it's beautiful when you do that. There's a certain amount of preparatory things that happen in your life to lead you to that anyway. But it was more about allowing myself to be present and recognize what I already had. And that was part of the preparatory station, right? It was like realizing that, like, after a decade of yoga and meditation and countless battles with alcohol, depression, suicidal ideations, my growth was becoming exponential when I began deepening my relationship with herbs every single day. And that was such an amazing thing to realize, that the clinical herbalism path was more than like a desired profession for me. It was healing me. And it was where all the timeline shifts began to really recognize and move at a different pace. And it's where I started to realize that this is the integrative tool for all of our changing, for all the things that we're in. So all of the mushroom ceremonies I did before, getting prepared for ayahuasca, everything, I knew that what was going to hold me wasn't just doing the ceremonies. It was living the ceremony in ritual through inviting in herbs that were going to support me. So through what is called in the Amazon a lot of times plant dietas, which I like to call herbal immersions, through this became very present and aware on what was actually going to work for me, right? It wasn't going to be a ceremony and then everything was going to be healed and that was it. It was my preparation before I went. Especially since after being in the ceremonial world for so long, I realized that people just keep going back and going back and going back. And I was one of those people, but I went back with the same intention, which was always to learn more about plants and understand how I can speak and work with them and help others. And so there came a point where I wasn't trying to work on healing myself anymore. I was there to be able to focus on allowing myself to be present with who I was in the moment. And that's going to be a story for another time, because I've got a lot of stories I want to share with you all that have a lot to do around ceremony and being present and knowing who you are. But that preparation is what led me to go into ceremonies and not get swayed, and to know why I was there, my purpose, and what I was doing. And from the minute I heard about ayahuasca to the moment I was in the jungle making it in 2015, and then a couple of weeks later or a month later after making it, being in the ceremony that I wanted, that was 7 years. And I would never take back the 7 years of preparation that happened, because I became a new person along the path. And then on a deeper level, which I'll share about in another time, I realized that the spirit of the plants work with you just by knowing about them. So just by tuning in and being in my world and understanding what I'm listening to, what I'm sharing, you're receiving transmissions from these psychedelic plants, from these journeys that I've been on. And that's why we listen to elders. That's why we listen to others. That's why we listen to the stories. And so this goes back to the beginning of the storytelling is not to be egoic. The storytelling is to give you the spirit and the essence of what I've went through and what I learned, so that you can listen to it and gain whatever information you need from the story in this moment. So I'm really excited to have shared that today. I'm not sure how long I went today. I know I could go for a lot longer, but I'm feeling pretty good about where we're at. The solar well is available for sale. I sell it in this beautiful 28-ounce thing. Oh, good. Sheila, I was just sharing that I'm drinking Solar Well. Is my tea that I'm drinking today. And it's on my website, antleralchemy.com, under the apothecary for small batch herbals. If you're looking at the link in my bio, that's where you can get everything that I'm making, that I'm sharing with you all. Sometimes I'm just making things and I'm not sharing them because I don't sell everything I make. But right now, this one's one. So here's to us speaking our truth, feeling into our truth, not allowing the algorithms and the paradigm that I utilize as a tool rather than focus my life on, and allowing that to showcase what our life is about. So just so much gratitude for you all. Thank you for being here. Even though I'm shadow banned on Instagram, I figured out it's because of my profile bio is seemingly not appropriate. So I appealed because it is appropriate. So I will talk to you all soon. Thank you for joining me for another Psychedelic Tea Chat. And I will see you next week or on a Thursday, most likely. It's 1 week or every other week at this moment, but it's always on a Thursday. And so I will see you next time. Anubis, say goodbye. Okay, bye.